Alexandria Ocasio Cortez goes down to Washington. She's calling for a Green New Deal. And this article made me so happy. Representative-elect Alexandria Ocasio Cortez on Saturday threw her weight behind a new national campaign to mount primaries against incumbent Democrats deemed to be ideologically and demographically out of step with their districts. The incoming star congresswoman from New York, again, put the Democratic establishment on notice that she and activist groups on the left aren't content with a Democratic-controlled House. They are determined to move the party to the left. Quote, long story short, I need you to run for office, Ocasio-Cortez said Saturday on a video conference call hosted by Justice Democrats as the group launched a campaign dubbed #OurTime. Justice Democrats supported Ocasio-Cortez's primary campaign against Congressman Joe Crowley. Quote, all Americans know money in politics is a huge problem, but unfortunately, the way that we fix it is by demanding that our incumbents give it up or by running fierce campaigns ourselves, Ocasio-Cortez added. That's really what we need to do to save this country. That's just what it is. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? The incoming congressman's chief of staff, Shoykat Chakrabarti, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, a co-founder of Justice Democrats, was blunter. Quote, we need new leaders, period, he said on the call. We got a primary, folks. The group said they want Democratic members of Congress to be representative of their diverse communities and support liberal policies. It's not liberal, it's progressive policies like Medicare for all, abolishing the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Department, ICE, implementing a Green New Deal, and rejecting corporate PAC donations. On the campaign trail, Ocasio-Cortez talked about forming a corporate-free caucus as a means to push for reform. That type of group, if it reforms, could turn out to be the left's counterpart to the Freedom Caucus, which pushed Republican leadership to the right. Quote, I don't think people who are taking money from oil and gas companies should be drafting climate legislation, Ocasio-Cortez said on the call. Honestly, if I could curse more, if I could cry more, I would. When's the last time you heard it said so simply and so powerfully? Gee, what a common sense thing. Maybe people taking money and hoarding money from the very people destroying our planet, maybe those people shouldn't be the ones drafting legislation about our planet. NWA, when Jordan says he's not going anywhere, he's serious. He's peeing in a bucket under the desk as we speak. Hey, you might be true, because I got coffee going. I got my Fiji water going. I know I'm part of the problem. Fiji's destroying the country of Fiji. I just drank orange juice. So yeah, I might pee under the table, among other things. Yes, Jordan, FAC EPA killing Earth. Fake EPA, yes. So, I mean, Nancy Pelosi doesn't like this kind of talk. Chuck Schumer doesn't like this kind of talk. Barack Obama probably wouldn't have liked this kind of talk because their oxygen comes from fossil fuel companies. Their oxygen comes from big banks. Their oxygen comes from Wall Street. Their oxygen comes from Silicon Valley, which New York Times, I give them credit, just broke a major story about Facebook being a third world, like basically a nation state, lobbying and pushing out Republican propaganda. And Chuck Schumer stepped in to try and stop the Democratic Party from trying to regulate Facebook. But you know what I like about what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is doing? A lot of progressives, and tell you the truth, hate to say it, Elizabeth Warren, when she first ran and when she was first elected, was pretty hardcore progressive, just like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez right now. I chew bubblegum, $24.99 on the super chat. Thank you for speaking the truth. I chew bubblegum, I chew for you. I chew for you, so thank you for the $25. Can't thank you enough. And I just ask you folks, again, no problem with the super chat. If you can, contribute to the GoFundMe too, or contribute to the GoFundMe first. Because part of the reason we're really, really focused on this GoFundMe, and I'll tell you why. So I want to show you the number right now. Don't look at the money. Look at the amount of people who have raised. 326 people have donated in 2 months. Why we're trying to grow the actual number of people who contribute is because we are in the background working to go out to sponsors. We're working to go out to possible partners. We're working to go out to people that are aligned with our visions, not the banks, not the oil companies, not the real estate developers, not the corporate corrupt plutocrats, not the oligarchy, progressive-minded folks, progressive-minded companies. So it's very helpful when you go out to potential sponsors that might be able to sponsor certain reporting trips we do to cover those costs, who might be interested in sponsoring certain marathon live streams. It's very helpful to show, hey, not only do we have 22,000 subscribers on YouTube, not only do we have nearly 400 subscribers on Patreon. You could become a patron at patreon.com/statuscoup, as low as $2 a month. Not only have we raised this much money, but we are raising it from X amount of people. Sponsors like to see not only the amount you raise, but how many people support you. So that's part of the reason we're pushing the GoFundMe. Of course, money is money, so if you want to leave in the super chat, no problem. But I just wanted to give you that for background, why we're pushing the GoFundMe a little bit more than the super chat right now. So we have, Elizabeth Warren, for example, she went in there, and according to WikiLeaks, her and her people were having meetings with Hillary Clinton's people as early as 2014. Well, why? Sounds like Elizabeth Warren was saying all the right things. She ran as a progressive. I think economically she's pretty damn progressive. She's not my cup of tea on everything, but economically she is. But a lot of times progressives run, and then when they get into Washington, they get corrupted. Or maybe they don't get corrupted, but they start feeding into the business as usual. Well, obviously it's still early. She's still a congresswoman-elect. But right now, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, she's not interested in going there to play patty cakes with the establishment and compromise. As far as I can see, she's not interested in staying there for 30 years and ensuring that she gets reelected. She's interested in making shit happen right now, in calling out the people that are destroying the planet. She's not there to make friends. She's there to make change. So you got to give her a hell of a lot of credit for the stance she's taking. And by the way, I'm going to show you, I had a lot of fun last night, and so did Jen. Most people on Saturday night, go out to dinner, maybe go to a bar, maybe go see a movie, go bowling, whatever. I had a Twitter fight with neoliberals. So I took some of that exchange. I'm going to play it for you later. But, you don't get elected to go sit there and compromise your values. You don't get elected to go sit there and compromise your policies. Of course, in politics, you do have to compromise sometimes. But you don't compromise right out of the gate. Barack Obama as president, he got elected after George Bush basically burned down the country. He could have done whatever the hell he wanted. He has both houses of Congress, Barack Obama had. Could have done whatever he wanted. But what did he do? He stuffed his administration with Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and Wall Street bankers, or former bankers. And he said, you know what? No, we'll go to the Republicans. We're not going to we're not going to push for Medicare for all. We're not even going to push for a public option. We do have both houses of Congress. We'll give them the plan that they hatched, the Republican plan that they hatched out of the Heritage Foundation. And if you want to think about it in football terms, we'll offer stuff on their 10-yard line. Kimberly, yes, I do need a massage, but no super chat funds for massages. This is all for the company. And as Jen could tell you, I have taken virtually nothing from this company. I've been living off of my minuscule savings. Because if you want to create change, you have to lead by example. I have not been taking money from the company as of yet, very little, so that we could grow. Just keeping it real for you. So, Alexandria Cortez, not only should she not be compromising with these people, but she should be calling on other Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, women, men, white, black, young, old, it doesn't matter. She should be calling on other people. If she comes into Washington and she sees the corruption and she sees these officials are not changing their tune and they're not coming over to the left where the people are, that she should be naming names and fighting for them to be primaried. Or, as her chief of staff said, we need new leaders, period. The time for compromise is over. The planet is burning. The planet is burning. You, the viewer, so many people are deciding between groceries or medicine for their kids this month. So many people are deciding between, do I pay towards the mortgage or do I pay towards saving for college? I can't do both. So many people are literally saying, I have no idea if we're going to be in this home in 3 months. Yet we're told the economy is booming. The economy's not booming. The economy's booming for a few people. Nancy Pelosi's donors, maybe. Chuck Schumer's donors. Not for you, the viewer, and not for the proletariat. Michael Cooper, I'd be happy to throw in some extra coin for vacation. Throw in some extra coin for the company, not my vacation. The only reason, by the way, if you think I have money, the only reason I'm going on vacation is because I've had a credit card for a few years and I have all these points and I said, fuck it, I'm just using the points. The vacation is all my credit card points. It's nothing else. If you want, I could show you the receipts. I want to read to you just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. As for which Democrats they will target, the grassroots organization welcomed its members to submit nominations of candidates and potential districts to target in 2020. Justice Democrats said it will prioritize women and diversity in their recruitment. All 4 incoming House members who were backed by Justice Democrats are women of color. Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, who is one badass woman from Detroit, by the way, and Ocasio Cortez. Quote, if you're a strong progressive leader in your community and committed to getting money out of politics, I want you to join me in Congress. I want you to run, Ocasio Cortez said on Twitter on Saturday. For 29-year-old Ocasio Cortez and Justice Democrats want her victory over Crowley to be the beginning of a movement rather than just a one-off upset. We recruited and supported Ocasio Cortez all the way to a historic victory, and now we're going to repeat the playbook, Justice Democrats Executive Director Alexandria Rojas said in a statement. Tlaib, a fellow Democratic socialist who had the support of Justice Democrats in her own competitive primary for Congressman John Conyers' old seat, threw her support behind the new campaign as well. Quote, help uplift women like us at all levels of government. We still need more of you to run with us, so get your squad together. We're waiting for you, Tlaib said in a statement. The grassroots group expects to focus more on safe Democratic seats, as Crowley's was, than on the swing districts, largely centered in the suburbs that the party won en route to the House majority. That's a slight shift in strategy after all of the group's candidates, such as Kara Eastman in Nebraska, came up short in Republican-held congressional districts in 2018. Replacing safe Democratic incumbents with more progressive and diverse leaders, the thinking goes, could move the Overton window of what is and not acceptable in the Democratic Party. Quote, there's lots of blue districts in this country where communities want to support a new generation of diverse working class leaders who fight tirelessly for their voters and build a movement around big solutions to our country's biggest problems, said Rojas. See, I don't honestly know if I totally agree with that strategy. And I'll tell you why. So, in a lot of districts that were not safe, and Jen, the name escapes me. If you could get me the guy's name. If you remember, there was a special election in Montana. I believe because Ryan Zinke left Congress and became a corrupt Interior Secretary. And there was a Bernie Sanders type progressive that ran against the guy who headbutted or assaulted the reporter, Greg Grianforte, I think. I'm forgetting the progressive's name. The progressive names who ran for that special election Senate seat, he moved that. Trump won that Montana seat, and Jen, back me up on this. I might not have the number correct. Yes, Rob Quist. Thank you. He ran. Trump won Montana, I believe, by 21 points. He moved that. He only lost by 6 points. In Montana, which is not a Democratic bastion. Okay? So that's a huge swing. When you move in less than, I think it was from the election to when that special election was held, I think it was like 6 months. Rob Quist, a progressive who was running on Medicare for All and other progressive things, moved it from 21 points for the Republicans down to 6 points. 6 points. And by the way, might have been a difference. He might have won if that whole headbutting and assaulting the reporter happened a little earlier. So I agree, obviously you want the most wins as possible to force out corrupt corporate Democrats. So definitely target safe blue districts if you can. And Alexandria Ocasio Cortez defeating Joe Crowley in New York's, I think it was the 19th district, was definitely safe. Trump won Montana by 20 points. Thanks, Jen. Well, Quist turned it around in 6 months to only losing by 6 points. So I don't think it's totally a great strategy to say we're not gonna try and win in Republican districts. A lot of these Republican districts are for progressive economic policies. You have to speak to them in languages they understand. Jennifer W. says, I say do both. I agree. But either way, I am very, very happy what Ocasio-Cortez is doing. But, and I will say this about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, not because she's a woman, but because I've seen enough. We need to hold her and other progressives accountable. We need to remember the language she's speaking now, the actions she's taking now. We need to look at her actions in a year from now or 6 months from now. I'm not against compromising here and there. I'm not against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez if she can't get every single thing she wants, compromising to get things that are considerably better for the planet, considerably better for working people. But what I am against is compromising from the start. What I am against is compromising core values and core principles. That is a non-starter for me, whether it's Ocasio-Cortez or anyone else that runs as a progressive and a populist. Either be you and go in like a champion, stay in like a champion, and leave like a champion. Go in like a fighter, stay like a fighter, and leave like a fighter. Period. End of story.